The name's Jackson. Lights, camera, Jackson. It's LCJ Live. It's Sunday, March 8, 2020. Welcome to the show. We have a lot to get to today. Big box office news. How did Onward and The Way Back do? Plus everything going on with movie release date shifts and the coronavirus, most prominently with No Time to Die, the latest James Bond movie. Of course, it has been moved from April 10th all the way to Thanksgiving. And Daniel Craig hosted Saturday Night Live last night, briefly mentioned it in the monologue, did a little James Bond skit that was so-so, and then they showed a 30-second ad for No Time to Die, and at the end of it, it says, in theaters, Thanksgiving. That is just something. It is a sight to see. So we're looking forward to No Time to Die, but we gotta wait about 8 months to see the latest James Bond movie. I got Mr. Roger Moore right here to celebrate. Hopefully, finally, No Time to Die will be out in theaters November 25th, November 12th over in the United Kingdom. They're having it come out about 2 weeks earlier, which was the plan originally for No Time to Die as well. I believe March 31st was the original UK release date, and then here on April 10th. Daniel Craig also did a movie quote game night sketch last night on SNL that you can find on their Twitter as well. As far as the box office goes, we've got Onward winning the weekend with $40 million. That's one of the lower openings for a Pixar animated movie, but it's still solid and still a number one, first place victory for Pixar Animation Studios. I think $40 million, all things considered, is pretty decent. You had $650,000 of that come out of the screenings last Saturday on Leap Day. Then you had $2 million on Thursday night, and then more money coming in, obviously Friday, Saturday, and today. Families want an animated feature. It's the first big animated feature of 2020. Sonic the Hedgehog is making a lot of money, $140 million. That's up to, I don't know if Onward's going to get to $140 million total. So maybe Paramount takes the win on family films for 2020 so far. But Onward, Disney Pixar at least celebrating today with a $40 million first place victory. Bob Hall wants to know if I'm nervous about the coronavirus. Well, there's a lot going on with that. Some release date shifts. Hollywood is questioning some things. We'll get to that in just a second here on LCJ Live. The other big movie that opened up this weekend, Ben Affleck's new drama, The Way Back. Yes, this basketball drama. Here it is. $8.5 million. For The Way Back, which I think is okay. It's about in line with what expectations were for this film for this weekend. It's a good film. Ben Affleck gives the best performance in a movie so far in 2020. It's real, it's raw, his performance especially. The film itself, it's got some issues in the third act. It's a little cliched in some aspects, but not in others. You're going to be surprised by some things that happen in The Way Back. If you're a Ben Affleck fan, you gotta go see this movie. And if you're a sports movie fan, this is not a traditional sports movie. If you're expecting feel-good, a lot of in-depth stuff on the high school players, things like that, you get a little of that, but the sports movie aspect, the basketball aspect, is a vehicle for Ben Affleck and his character to go through certain things, to get on his way back to a normal state of mind. This is not a 100% classic Hoosier-style, basketball sports movie. And I kind of like it for that. Gavin O'Connor and Ben Affleck teamed up for The Accountant 3.5 years ago. And that was a unique, multi-genre piece of filmmaking. You get a couple genres and some things weaving into this movie as well. It's not as dynamic or unique as The Accountant was and is, but I still do recommend, especially for Ben Affleck's performance, you go see The Way Back. $8.5 million. Let's try to get this movie a little bit more money at the box office. There's a lot going on this week when it comes to movies. I still believe the religious drama, spiritual drama is coming out in theaters with IMAX screenings nationwide on Wednesday. And then Thursday night, Bloodshot with Vin Diesel and The Hunt opens up. Now, here's the thing about The Hunt. This was the controversial movie from Universal that was pulled last summer, supposed to come out in September, and Universal kind of shelved it because it was too controversial about elites and liberals and conservatives and all of that. So then about a month or two ago, they decided, let's put it back on the schedule. Let's put it out on Friday the 13th of March, and we'll make some money. We'll get this movie going again in terms of buzz. But because of the coronavirus, and because that's dominating the headlines, because this movie's coming around again, and they're trying with these kind of snarky, sarcastic new promos of clips of the film, I don't think The Hunt's going to make a lot of money at all. There will be a small percentage of people who go out of curiosity, but I do not see this film making a lot of money. It'll have a mild opening weekend next weekend, and then it will fall off the face of the earth. It really, really will. What's up, Moodless? Wondering how I'm doing? I'm doing great. Thanks, Moodless. Thanks for watching LCJ Live. So not expecting big things for The Hunt. Bloodshot, it's another Vin Diesel action thriller. Seems kind of generic to me. I'm not sure if that's going to make a lot of money, and I still believe it'll get that faith-based audience that comes out to those kind of movies, especially starting on Wednesday, maybe with the IMAX showings. How big will it be out of the gate? That's the question. Will it be kind of steady over the next couple of weeks? We'll have to see. Maybe Onward is still number one next weekend. I'm feeling maybe a $22 million weekend for Onward next weekend will be good enough for first place. There was supposed to be another movie that opened up, that would open up this Friday the 13th, actually Thursday at 6 o'clock. My Spy. You've probably been seeing the ads and trailers for My Spy for months. I feel like I have. Because this movie was supposed to come out last August, then it got pushed to January, then it got pushed to March. Now it's being pushed again to April 17. And you're probably thinking, well, is it because of the coronavirus? And the answer, I believe in this case, is no. STX has had a lot of financial problems. Everybody thought Hustlers, which made more than $100 million last fall, was going to save STX and allow it to release more movies and do more things. But apparently that's not the case, because I think the reason why STX keeps pushing this film, it's done. It's apparently been released in Australia. It's already had its PG-13 MPAA rating forever. They just don't clearly have the money to get this movie into the theaters. I mean, they promised for this movie to open on Thursday at 6 o'clock in thousands of theaters nationwide. And yesterday, they basically said, we can't deliver our promise. They literally don't have the money to get this movie into the theaters. At this point, especially with the coronavirus, you'd think you'd want to get your movie out there, get it out now, see what happens, but at least for this week, you get the movie out, make a little money, and finally get this movie off of what you got, STX, and just move on. But no, they are dragging this puppy out. I mean, my gosh, this film has been delayed 5 or 6 times. It's crazy to me. It's honestly crazy. They're going to go to April 17. But here's the thing. April 10th was the original release date for Mr. James Bond, No Time to Die. Then they moved that to November. Universal and Trolls says, all right, let's move up Trolls from April 17 to April 10. We clearly don't care as much about the international box office. We just want to get it out there in America. Let's get it out. So they move it up to April 10, which is Easter weekend and the weekend when kids are off for spring break. I think it's a smart move. But you've got Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, coming out April 3rd. So you got family audiences going for that. Then you got Trolls on the 10th. Now you're asking families to go see My Spy on the 17th, even though it's PG-13. That's right, it's about Dave Bautista and a little girl. It's an action comedy for families, but it is a pretty decent PG-13. And Mulan, by the way, the week before, March 27, PG-13, not for families, not for kids. Disney clearly saying that. So I don't know if My Spy is going to make more money on April 17th than it would have coming out this Friday. I think it would have probably made $5 or $6 million bucks. Get it out there, get done with it, goodbye. What more can you possibly do in the next month? Especially with 2 family movies coming out right before you and Mulan. What more can you possibly do to bring people in to see My Spy? I don't know. I really don't know. I just think STX has to get the money to get this movie into the theaters. This may not be the last time this movie gets pushed back. Clearly, you know, you can pull a movie with 5 days to go. It's nuts. But that's where we're at with My Spy. So, what could the coronavirus do to more release dates and more movies? We've had Trolls move up because Bond stepped out. We had My Spy step back, but I don't think it was because of that. And we've had Greyhound, the Tom Hanks war movie, move its release date from May 8 to June 12. I also think that did not have to do with the coronavirus. Even though Sully pulled it off a few years ago, it's hard to market a Tom Hanks movie in about 2 months period of time. Sully was able to pull it off, but maybe because Clint Eastwood was behind it and it was a very familiar story. They literally, I think, started the marketing in July and the movie opened in the beginning of September. But you've got this film Greyhound. It's a little bit more of a niche true story. Tom Hanks wrote the screenplay. Tom Hanks stars in it. And the trailer just came out in the poster, and I think Sony's thinking, all right, May 8th, it's a little too soon. Let's push it to June 12th. It's Flag Day weekend and the week before Father's Day weekend. So you have that timing is a little stronger, I think, than putting it out right after Black Widow in the middle of May. But now you've got this wild card that is the coronavirus. What is going to happen to release dates of movies? What's going to happen to U.S. theaters? All of that. I wrote a blog piece that's up at lights-camera-jackson.com, posted it yesterday, that Warner Brothers is probably not going to make a decision on any of their big movies like Wonder Woman 1984, Christopher Nolan's Tenet, In the Heights, and more specifically, and the soonest, would be the Scooby-Doo animated movie, because the Scooby-Doo film is their next movie, and it does not come out until May 15. Now, even before this coronavirus outbreak, Warner Brothers knew that they were going to have this gap. They opened Birds of Prey on Feb 7. They opened The Way Back a couple days ago. Now they have this more than 2-month gap. Extremely rare for Warner Brothers. In fact, they've only got 5 movies total opening in the first 6 months of 2020, and that is the fewest number of films to open in the first half of the year for Warner Brothers since 2009. They've known this going in, though, for quite some time, that this was going to be the case. It just happens to be really interesting timing. So people have been writing articles about, all right, what about other movies? Are studios going to move other movies because of No Time to Die? No Time to Die really, they felt had to move because of the international box office they were going to lose if they kept the release date. As of now, they felt they were going to lose a lot of money. Warner Brothers does not have to make a decision on this, I think, for several more weeks. They're going to sit back and wait because Scooby-Doo's not till May 15. Wonder Woman not till June 5. Today is March 8. You're a tad less than 3 months away from Wonder Woman. There's a lot that can happen in 3 months, especially with what's going on with the coronavirus. There's a lot that can happen in 3 months. I could easily see Warner Brothers still putting out Scooby-Doo in May and waiting until about 4 weeks before Wonder Woman, which would be right around May 8, that time frame, to actually make a decision on whether or not they got to move the thing. We'll see what happens with everything going on and where we are in 2 months. But don't expect Warner Brothers to make any sort of decisions when it comes to that. You're a box office guru, LCJ. You're an expert on the subject. I learned a lot. Thank you, Bob Hall. I appreciate that. Now, when it comes to, where are you going to go to South by Southwest, says T. Swart HD. Was not planning on going to South by Southwest, have not been to South by Southwest, but know some people who were going to go, some entertainment reporters and film critics, and I think it was the right call they had to make, and not necessarily just because of what was happening with the coronavirus, but because the coronavirus caused a lot of studios and companies to pull out. Facebook, Twitter, Paramount was canceling the Lovebirds stars and people showing up to that premiere. They were still going to screen the movie. When I read that Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae were backing out, but they were still going to screen the movie, I thought, no, that doesn't seem right to me. They're just going to pull the whole thing. And then they pulled the whole thing. Yeah, because so many were backing out over their concerns, South by Southwest had to cancel. So it was a chain reaction effect. Coronavirus caused the studios, which caused the ultimate cancellation of South by Southwest. It was not jumping from coronavirus to just canceling South by Southwest. But that's where we are with that. We'll see what happens. More festivals on the way. Tribeca in New York in April, I think, is a big question mark at this point. But we will see what happens. So, other studios, as far as making decisions, Mulan, Disney, they're going forward. I'm a little surprised, but I think they don't have a choice. They're going to release Mulan in America here, as of now, on the 26th, and then release it in places like China and other overseas markets at a later time. unless things drastically change in the next couple of weeks. But as of now, Disney is doing that. I'm surprised, but I think it's too late. I think it's too late for Disney to back out of something like that. Disney wants the money. Disney coming off of Onward. They want to get as much money as they possibly can, so they're going to stick with Mulan. Quiet Place Part 2, I don't see that moving at this point. But again, if you could pull a movie like My Spy in 5 days out, I guess anything goes at this point. Really anything goes, except for the movies opening up this week. I don't see I Still Believe moving at this point, or The Hunt, or Bloodshot. They're just going to get the movies out there, see how much money they make, and everybody is going to take it week by week. Quiet Place is next week. Then you've got Mulan. Then you got all these movies, The Lovebirds, The New Mutants, which has already been delayed multiple times, and then Peter Rabbit, all come out on April 3rd. Trolls World Tour comes out on April 10th. And then you've got now My Spy and a horror film called Antlers on the 17th. Some really low, smaller films on the 24th. And then Black Widow May 1. And again, that's Disney's next one after Mulan. And I don't see them making a decision right now. They're going to wait until the last possible moment they can make a decision. It's like the Olympics. They said basically we have till the end of May, and at that point, 2 months out, we can make a decision. I think that's going to happen with the Olympics. They're going to wait until the last possible moment, and I think Disney will sit down and think about it and say, all right, based on whatever happens, do we need to move some of these movies, and what can we do? Maybe, like I wrote on Twitter the other day at LCJ Reviews, maybe a film like Artemis Fowl, which I think could be a bomb, and Jungle Cruise, which I also think, depending on how the quality of the film is, might not do so hot. Maybe they end up going to Disney Plus. There's another film coming out in August called The One and Only Ivan, which Disney is supposedly putting out. Maybe that goes to Disney Plus anyway. May have to do with the coronavirus, may not. There's a lot of things now. With HBO Max coming in for Warner Brothers, it's interesting. All these studios now have these online digital streaming service platforms where they could put their movies if they had to. Now, I don't see a film like Soul, which is Pixar's next movie, coming out in June, going to Disney Plus, because they'll want it in theaters to get it up for awards consideration and to make that money. But for something else where they don't care as much about it for awards play or financial purposes, maybe something interesting goes to Disney Plus, HBO Max, Netflix, pick another one, Hulu, something coordinates with a studio and goes onto one of those platforms because of the coronavirus, or maybe just to do it anyway. We could be seeing more of that throughout the year. This is already quite a year. And I did think about this the other day as we wrap things up here on LCJ Live today. The Oscars was so early this year. It was Feb 9. It was earlier than ever. And, there are a lot of people who have the coronavirus right now in South Korea. Imagine if the Oscars was 2 weeks later. It was, 9th, and then the 16th, and it was like the February 23rd. Imagine if it was the 23rd. And then a couple days later, all this stuff about the coronavirus began. I just feel like, everything, the coordination there, the timing with the Oscars, and everybody who came to the Oscars from South Korea to report at the Academy Awards and then was able to go back to their country. The timing is really interesting this year when you think about it. That we had this little gap for a couple of weeks after the Oscars before all this coronavirus stuff really started here in this country. But if the Oscars was the end of February like normal, it would have just rubbed right up against it. Really interesting to think about it. Timing is something. I've always believed that timing can be really interesting. So, Friday the 13th this week, Bloodshot, The Hunt, I Still Believe. We'll see if any of them can take down Onward. Be back here next Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern to talk about what else is happening. Will more movies change their release dates because of the coronavirus? We'll go through the box office, my takes on some of these movies I will be seeing I Still Believe this week, and maybe one or two other films. Also, my review tomorrow at lights-camera-jackson.com of the Peter Pan new take on that from Ben Zeitlin called Wendy. I saw it on Wednesday. I'll have my review there. It expands nationwide this coming Friday as well. I'll let you know if it's worth seeing. New Too Fast, Two Films podcast episode is up right now at toofast2films.com, which is The Burnt Orange Heresy, a film out right now, and Onward. And this Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS, Kelsey Grammer and Patricia Heaton from Back to You reunite on Carol's second act. It is the Back to You reunion that I have been waiting for a long time. So I'll be sure to watch that. Really excited for that. We'll talk about that as well here next Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern, right here on LCJ Live. As always, follow me on Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, and head to the website for my take on the Bond situation and Warner Brothers and a lot of stuff going on. Go to the website. It's lights-camera-jackson.com. I'm LCJ. Thank you for watching LCJ Live. Stay safe, everybody. Please wash your hands. So somebody wrote on Twitter the other day, it was like, or Facebook, I was washing my hands before it was trending. Yeah, it's interesting. Please wash your hands. Please stay safe. And please stay healthy. And I'll see you back here next Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern for more. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for watching.